If you're new to Chicago, and even if you're not, Chicago's public transit system might be confusing. Here's a 5-minute overview of what you need to know. Chicago has two types of transit: CTA trains, which are referred to by their color, brown, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, pink, and buses, which are referred to by their number, like 8 or 20. Buses do also sometimes have prefixes like N or J, denoting specific characteristics about the service. Generally speaking, the colors and the numbers are arbitrary, and you won't remember them unless you use a specific line or bus route a lot. One thing to note is that metro trains, which look like this, are not CTA. These are commuter rail services to the suburbs. Here's how CTA train routes work. All of the lines, with the exception of the yellow line, go around the loop, or at least through that area. The loop is a round loop of elevated train tracks surrounding the central business district. The loop is basically the central hub for the train system, and it's where you can transfer between train lines. Let's visualize how a route works, taking the red line, for example. The red line starts at the Howard stop to the north of the loop and ends at the 95th Dan Ryan stop to the south of the loop. Since the direction of the train is denoted by the final stop, the trains headed north will be labeled as Howard bound. Southbound trains will be labeled as 95th Dan Ryan bound. If we start at the Loyola stop and want to go south to the Addison stop, we would board a 95th Dan Ryan bound train and get off at Addison. If we later wanted to do the reverse, we would board a Howard bound train and get off at Loyola. CTA bus routes work in a similar fashion. Since the city is mostly a grid of perpendicular roads, many buses run directly east-west or north-south. In the cases where these simple routes are not possible, each bus still runs generally in a cardinal direction. The direction a bus is headed is denoted by the final stop, just like the train system. But for buses, the final stops are listed as the intersection of two streets. For example, take the number 8 bus that travels north-south along Halsted Street. It travels from Halsted and 79th, at the very southernmost tip of the route, up north to Broadway and Waveland. To board a number 8 bus, you would go to the bus stop, denoted by a street sign on the side of the road with the bus number on it, which is sometimes accompanied by a covered area with a bench. Note that some bus stops will support multiple different bus routes, so make sure you pay attention to the number on the front of the bus when you get on. If you're trying to take the bus going north, you'd want to wait on the eastern side of the road adjacent to the traffic that is traveling north. Google Maps can help show you which way is north. When the bus comes, it should say 8 to Broadway and Waveland. Once you're on the bus, a recorded voice will announce the names of each stop as it comes. But if the driver does not see anyone waiting outside at a particular bus stop, they will not stop there. To signal to the driver that you need to get off at a particular stop, you will pull down on a cable that hangs along the inside of the bus. You want to do this immediately after the bus passes the previous stop. To know the order of the stops, Google Maps is very helpful. For example, if you wanted to get off at Halsted and North Avenue, you would see that the previous stop is Halsted and Blackhawk on Google Maps. After hearing the recorded voice announce Blackhawk, and you see that stop pass by, you would then pull the cord. It will make a ding, and the driver will then know that someone wants to get off at North Avenue. A single ride on a CTA train costs $2.50, and a single ride on a bus costs $2.25. You can also purchase unlimited passes. A single day pass is $5 for unlimited train and bus rides, and a full week pass is $20. You can pay in a few different ways, but most people prefer either to use a reloadable Ventra card, a credit card enabled with tap to pay, or Google or Apple Pay on their phone/smartwatch. If you want a reloadable Ventra card, you can buy it at any train stop using a vending machine that looks like this. Buses and trains have simple little electronic readers that look like this, where you tap your payment method. When you're ready to go somewhere, just look at the transit directions on Google Maps. I prefer to use the fewer transfers option for reasons I will explain in a minute. But what if you have to take a transfer, meaning you need to take two separate numbered buses or two separate colored train lines, or even worse, a bus and a train? It's actually very simple. You just get off, and if you tap the same payment method on the next bus or train, it won't charge you again. The reason you want fewer transfers is because the timing of trains and buses cannot really be relied upon. With the exception of rush hour periods in the loop, the scheduled time for a train or bus has very little correlation with the time it will actually arrive, so make sure to pad your travel time generously. One final note, personal safety on CTA may be a concern, especially on the trains late at night. Some people prefer to take the bus at night because there's a driver close by to keep an eye on things. I say these words of caution not to alarm you or cause paranoia, but I want to make sure you can make informed decisions when taking CTA. Thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something.